Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Miss Personal Finance, where we are budgeting our way to financial freedom. In today's video, this is going to be an inflow budget, essentially additional funds that come in throughout the month that we'd like to budget for or account for. We are 1 month ahead, so we have a monthly budget that we are able to pay our bills once at the beginning of the month and use the remainder of the month to save up for the following month. And part of our 2025 financial goals is to budget all of the inflow that comes in. And sometimes it's not income, it's just additional funds that come in from different sources. For example, this was a refund from a doctor's visit. So that's still inflow, that's still cash that's coming into our budget. And in the past, I wasn't really doing a great job of tracking it correctly. So I wanted to be more mindful of that in the new year. So here we are. Let's get started. All right, so the additional inflow for this period, we're going to do on the 20th, we had some additional funds. And this, I'm not really sure how to categorize it. It's really just additional funds that were left over in our bill paying checking account. I know some budgeters refer to it as the zero out challenge, where you zero out your bank account so there are no cents or additional funds outside of a set amount. Typically it's not zero. You usually bring your account to an even, for example, an even $100 or an even $50. So that's what the zero out challenge is. So for us, I'm going to write out bank account zero out. I don't know, maybe I'll find a new name for it because I really don't know what to categorize that under. So previously I would just lump all our additional income into an additional funds category, because we have variable income, we have W-2 income, we have self-employment income, we have business income from rental properties. So our additional inflow can come from several different sources, and I would just lump whatever was left over at the end of the month. So now I'm trying to consciously go through on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and kind of see what additional inflow we've had and budget it accordingly, hopefully before I actually spend the funds. Speaking of rental properties, we have a few units, and if you know anything about the mortgage process or owning a home, you know that every year there's something called an escrow analysis, where essentially the bank or the servicer holds on to a portion of your mortgage payment each month to go towards your taxes and your homeowner's insurance. And those amounts can fluctuate. In the past, I've had times where the escrow was overfunded or overpaid, and I would receive an escrow check for that difference. But lately, it seems just like everything else, the prices are just going up. The amounts are going up. The cost of insurance and property taxes are skyrocketing. So between about 3 units, each of those have increased about $200 to $300 a month due to escrow. And again, that escrow account houses the homeowner's insurance and property taxes. If you know anything about home asset appreciation, it's a good thing that the property taxes are going up if you're selling. But if you're holding on to the property, that's just an additional expense that adds to the monthly liability of holding on to that property. So for us, we have to really decide what we're going to do and how we're going to cover those shortages. That means less income coming in on the business side on a monthly basis, and that's an increased charge or increased liability, and we're not really getting much out of it. That's one of the things you have to think about when you have or own a rental property, is that you have to maintain that property pretty much just like your main or primary home. You have to pay taxes on it. It can increase. You have to pay insurance on it. That can increase. And you have to maintain the property. So that's any repairs, broken appliances, you name it. So with that being said, it has given me a little bit of a pause a chance to kind of reevaluate where we are with our rental units and to see if this is something that we want to continue with. Because although it is definitely an asset, it is a wealth building vehicle, it also is costly. I know they say to make money, you have to spend money, but across a couple of units, that's a lot of money. So stay tuned. We'll figure out what we're going to do and I'll keep you posted. But back to our actual inflow budget. So it's not much, but we didn't budget anything. But when I was taking a look at the financial moves I can make for this week, I saw that in our bill paying checking account, we had an additional $71 left over. So going down to our variable expenses, these are pretty much prepaid, so they roll over and the amounts don't fluctuate often. So I'm going to leave these alone. But for the sinking funds, our household sinking funds, we have a car insurance sinking fund that is due in a few months and it needs to be funded over $2,000. So I think all of my extra funds, at least some of it, will be going towards that sinking fund. So that's an additional $71. And I haven't put the actual, I am going to wait until the end of the month just in case something happens, but this is what I would like to budget our additional inflow for, a $71 toward our car insurance sinking fund, which needs to be funded about $2,300 by April. So that's only a couple of months and it's a lot of money. So we want to make sure that we are putting all of our additional funds toward that so we have enough when that bill comes due. Hopefully we'll get the renewal ahead of time to know the exact amount, but I'd like to use the previous year's budget or the previous year's amount to budget for the current year. And sometimes I add a little padding just because I know things can increase. So because that $2,300 is an estimate, it actually can be higher or lower. So we'll see. But for now, definitely going to start funding that sinking fund as much as possible, because even if we don't make it to the entire amount, having something is better than nothing. And that's all for this video. Comment below if you think rental properties are a good investment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, whatever you put your energy and your focus toward, you're bound to see progress.